Hey, good morning, St. Louis, Chi-Town, Alabama, Georgia, the Bahamas, Oregon, Florida, New York. We got so much work to do. I'm going to take just a few minutes. I know I haven't been on in some time. I've been actually posting via writing messages. I haven't used a video in some time, but I think that we all are aware of what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. But I want you to truly look at what's actually occurring. You got the Ukrainians trying to defend against a country as strong as Russia, which is basically a massacre, if you ask me. You got other NATO countries providing Ukraine with various resources, such as weaponry to defend. However, there is no defense. In other words, that you can provide me weaponry all day, but if I don't have the know-how and the manpower to defend against such a country as Russia, basically my citizens are going to be slaughtered. But what I want to talk about is what we can't allow ourselves to be consumed in. And that is people dying as you perceive them to die is not how it works. It's deeper than that. You must begin to go deeper in thought and understand that everything literally is information and data that's being encoded by the mind that's actually doing the encoding. In other words, if I was asleep for 2 to 3 years in a coma, I'm not going to know the things that are occurring right now because I'm not in the reality in which everyone are. I'm in a different reality. But when I awaken, I can now start to encode the things that I wasn't capable of encoding. But the question is, which reality will I turn in once I awaken? All is based upon the development of your mind. If your mind is not strong, you're not going to be able to make sense of what's actually going on because you have not the power to make sense of what's going on. Do I believe that we are currently in a World War III? I believe World War III exists. It's just not in your reality as of yet. And the reason it's not in your reality because you have not the capability of processing the depthness of where the war is. The question we must begin to ask ourselves, how do we defend against such a third war? How do we do that? The only reason we're incapable of doing it at this particular time is because we're living in the past. The war has already happened. Everything that you see has already happened. Depending upon the strength of your mind is going to determine whether or not you now live in the future. Many of you project the future as causality, cause and effect. And the reason that's the way it is in your mind is because your mind is literally encoding the world very, very slow. And as a result of encoding the world very slow, it looks as though it already, or not necessarily already, it looks as though it's happening as you encode it, but you're encoding it slow. So it's already happening. You're just catching up with it. No different than the sun that's 90 plus million miles away. And once it hit your retina, which takes 8 minutes to hit your retina, then you feel the heat. But what about Alpha Centauri or Proxima Centauri, or one of the most distant planets that's so far away, billions of miles away? It's not going to hit you for years, if not hit you. It might not, because of the fact that you have not the mind power to encode that level of light within your retina. We must begin to understand that we are powerful, but yet we know not that we are, because unfortunately false religion, false doctrine has literally seared our consciousness. We've been dealing with witchcraft, obeah, voodoo. Ever since we've known ourselves, we've been dealing with black magic, and we've never come to the realization that we must surpass that veil. Once you have the ability to measure the position and the velocity of every molecule in the universe, measure the position and the velocity, you will literally stop time. And time, as you know, time will not be the same. You will be in the world, but not of the world. Now, there may be someone that are dwelling within the world that feels that time, but you won't feel it. You can interact with that person, but at the same time, you're interacting with them at the molecular subatomic level. So as a result, you're interacting with not them, You interacting with the reality in which that particular system dwells, and as a result, you're walking on it. You're walking on darkness. We must come to the realization that we've never understood the truth. And if we don't come to this understanding, you will continue to suffer. You will continue to perish. The nursing homes will continue to wait on you, and the graveyard will be your resting place. Many of you are thinking, well, you got to die from something. The reason you think this way is because your mind is so undeveloped. Your mind is so undeveloped, you don't have a clue that you can literally develop your mind to a point where you can begin to see outside of space and time. You must gain the power necessary to be able to see things as it truly is. And once we get to that level of understanding, we will be able to shut down a World War III, shut down a World War IV, shut down a 5, 6, and a 7, because we will literally be able to warp space and time at absolute negative 273.15 Celsius. Not a devil in hell, darkness, or information in hell can shut that level of understanding down. We must become who we are created and predestined to become. What's sitting on your shoulders, which is called a mind, is what's encoding your entire existence. Electrical impulses, synapses, neurotransmitters, whatever you want to call them, prefrontal cortex, hippocampus, the amygdala. We have to come to the realization that we have not lived. The Bible says, let the dead bury the dead. You're dying and you're burying those that are dead. You're already dead. And the reason you're dead is because your mind is not powerful enough to reverse its course. Newtonian physics started back in 1600 with Isaac Newton. Newtonian physics, causality, cause and effect. We've been still dealing with that from electrons, or shall I say, different computer technologies, from transistors. We've been dealing with Newtonian physics. Newtonian physics, as we know physics, must be eradicated. We must come up with a new physics. We must be able to reverse causality, cause and effect. And in order to do that, we have to strengthen our mind. Everything that you encode and see, you're encoding it. You're tasting it, you're touching it, you're feeling it, you're hearing it by your mind, and as a result, it becomes form. Once you are able to measure the position and the velocity of every molecule in this universe, you will stop time, and as a result, you will be in the world, but you won't be of it. You will not be subject to disease, viruses, bacteria. You will not be subject to poison, carbon emissions from gasoline, etc., because your mind will be so powerful. You can extrapolate at a level in which most people can't even perceive. You're talking about 160,000 miles per second, 300,000 kilometers. There's no way in hell a projectile can hit you if you're traveling at that speed. You will be walking on it. We must come to the realization that the time is not tomorrow, the time is today, for us to say all or nothing. Because if we don't, everything will remain the same. And you'll see what's going on in Ukraine will be happening in America. We must understand Ukraine is not there, it's in your mind. Russia is not there, it's in your mind. America is not there, it's in your mind. It's no different than ones and zeros, on and off, switches. Wake up, because if not, you will literally pay a price and didn't realize that greater is he that's in you than he that's in this damn world. Turn your damn lights on and kick darkness ass. And as a result of kicking its ass, you wouldn't get strokes and heart attacks and diabetes and cancer because you got too much damn power. It's time for us to stop following these false prophets, false teachers. They're illiterate. They don't know what they're talking about. They're blind, no different than everyone that came before them are blind. May God bless you all and wake you up from your dream, because you're damn dreaming. You fail to realize what's in you is the power to claim victory. God bless.